Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Big Bros podcast. My name's Jeremy. Welcome if it's your first time joining us on the show. And I'm joined by my lovely friend and co-host, Ilan. How you going, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I am fantastic, and I am excited to dive into this one because, as you guys can see from the title, we're talking all things festivals now. It's that time of the year. There's that buzz in the air. You might have your BTV tickets sorted. Maybe you're going to Cake Festival. You know, this is if you're in Melbourne, and it's a time where everyone's just getting rowdy. You know, it's post Christmas, and everyone just wants to listen to some gnarly music and do all sorts of mischievous things. Isn't that right?
It's true, although I've never actually been to a festival. So let's treat this episode as if I've just bought some tickets.
Yeah.
And I've never gone. And you being the experienced grizzled veteran of festivals. How many festivals have you actually gone to?
Look, mate, wouldn't say that I'm a grizzled veteran. I think I've gone to just the 2 overnight ones for a few nights. So look, I'm
You've
by
been to
no
Pitch?
means... Yeah, Pitch and Beyond the Valley. Yeah, I missed out on Strawberry, unfortunately.
What about Cake?
Nah, that's just the day festival,
Oh,
not
okay.
Cake. But you know what? I'm no veteran, but it's something that I can talk to you about, considering you're a bloody rookie by the sounds of it.
Well,
mate.
I mean, I've gone to the Dom Dollar Day Festival with you when I was 19 or 20 years old. So I
Far out.
don't when Pauser back in the day.
That's
Do you
a
remember
bit
that?
of a... Yeah, mate, that's where I broke down with my nut allergy at that festival.
Yeah, actually, let's tell the audience about that. What happened?
Yeah, a bit of context to that one. We were at a Timberyard Day event seeing the DJ Pauser back in this is before COVID, wasn't it?
This was December 2019.
2019. Frick, we were
Infants.
kids. We were infants, yeah. Anyways, I've got a severe nut allergy, cashew and pistachio nuts, and I was hungry. I was getting a bite to eat for dinner, and all they had on sale at the food vendor trucks were these sandwiches. And I originally wanted to get, I remember it was like a chicken. I wanted the chicken and mushroom sandwich or whatever it was, but that was sold out. So all they had was a pesto, chicken and pesto sandwich, or a vegetarian sandwich. Now, I opted for the pesto one, thinking pesto has pine nuts, usually, maybe, I don't know. I'm not much of a pesto eater, but that's the one I got. I'm ravenous, we're, a few drinks in, I'm getting a bit tipsy as well. It's hot and I'm ravenous. So I just dive into this pesto sandwich. Next minute, my freaking face is blowing up, and I'm getting swelling of my tongues, tightening of my throat, and one of my, best mates, our best mate, Jordan Glick, turns to me and says, mate, your head looks like it's about to explode. It is red. It's blowing up like a balloon. What is going on? You're not just drunk. Something's happening.
Were you feeling shit at this point?
I was feeling dreadful, and I knew I was having an allergic reaction. I knew that there was definitely cashew nuts in this pesto, which is what I'm highly allergic to. So yeah, removed myself from the situation, confirmed that there were cashews with the food truck, because there was no mention of it on the actual signs, mind you. There was no mention of the nuts. So I was like, fucking hell, you guys, I'm in a bad way. There could be other people in an even worse way had there been no notification about this. Anyways, I removed myself from the area I was in. I go to the medical tent, and I'm in this medical tent having a severe allergic reaction. Meanwhile, there are some gacked units in there that are just fried off their heads.
Why are you pointing at me?
No.
I was there. I don't know if I was gacked, but...
Nah, mate. You weren't the gacked unit, but there were gacked units in this medical tent. Jaws swinging from left to right like monkeys, and I'm just in there just wanting a Telfast tablet to suppress this allergic reaction I'm having. Did they have any? Nah. So what happens? They call an ambulance for me, and I jump in the back of an ambulance and on my way to the Alfred Hospital just to get a Telfast tablet, and that's what I did. And I just met my parents at the hospital.
You would have been so pissed off that you had to you were feeling like shit, but you weren't feeling oh, I can't breathe.
Well, I wasn't feeling like I cannot breathe, but I was I was having like,
were you panicked?
For anyone that like has a nut allergy or any allergy that has like, some form of anaphylaxis, what it feels like to have throat closure and swelling of your tongue and these awful sensations in your mouth. And that's what I was feeling. And like, had I had any more of that sandwich, like I had a good half of it. Had I had like another half of it, like would have hated to have thought what would happen. But yeah, I was struggling to breathe, but you know what? We laugh about it now, but ever since then I just realized, you got to be careful about like drugs and alcohol at festivals, but you got to be careful if you've got allergies as well.
No, it's a fair point. Well, like you're alive, which is a good thing. And I remember I was just like oblivious to what was going on with you. You were heading to the Alfred whilst I was on the dance floor having a great time.
Yeah.
And didn't go to plan. Okay, back to the festival thing though.
Yeah.
These 3-day festivals, they're kind of long. Say I've just bought a ticket for one, and people are telling me you need to do drugs, you need to have heavy drugs, psychedelics, you need to take caps in order to enjoy and endure the 3 days. Is that myth or is that true?
Mate, it's like if look, to each their own. If you want to go to a festival and you want to go with the purpose of indulging in some form of substances, not that we condone that, but if that's something that you want to do, that's your call. But if you feel like you're getting pressured by your mates to do that, then one, you're with the wrong crowd. Like you shouldn't be going with mates that are pressuring you into taking substances that you don't want to do. But I think it's also nice to know that if it's an environment where substances are around and alcohol's around and all these things are, floating around the grounds of festivals, it's not like I genuinely don't feel like it's an environment where people are out to get you, because these things there are a lot of illicit substances going around there, but I don't think anyone is like out to get you, and like cops are like genuinely like out to get you. Like these festivals know what goes on in their grounds. They know that people get up to all sorts of things, and they have a duty of care to make sure that everyone is safe there. Hence why when you enter the festival grounds, like sometimes there are sniffer dogs, or sometimes like there will be people that will go through your cars and have a look what's there, and they might go through your bags. Some festivals have different policies and will be more onto that than others, but it's just their duty of care to do that, to make sure that people are safe if they were to indulge in certain things. But back to your question, if you're getting peer pressured to do certain things, my answer to that is like, you're just with the wrong crowd, because like a good crowd and good bunch of mates will obviously respect you if you don't want to indulge in certain things. And like, look, if they want to, that's their decision, and that's, if that's what they want to do, fine. But yeah, you shouldn't feel the need to do that if they want you to do that, because maybe it's just like a deflection of their insecurities onto you. Like they think far out, like I maybe don't want to do this, but if you do it, it might make me feel better about myself by me indulging in it. So it's about being intentional.
I know, but do you reckon, like, genuine question, you're dancing on these fucking cool ass, what are they? You're in a field, right?
Yeah.
So there are some settings where you're like in a field.
Middle of nowhere.
You're having a great time, but alcohol can get you so far. Yeah. In terms of energy and boost. So people will turn to kind of substances, caps to, enhance it. So my question is, and it might be like, do you think most people end up turning to those things as enhancements? Like I've heard stories of people going there and no one is sober. And I'm not just talking about alcohol. Like everywhere that you turn, everyone's gacked. That's what one of my mates just told me who came back from Strawberry.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't say everyone's gacked.
It's like you're on a Fortnite map and you've just like, spawned onto this middle of nowhere and everyone's on the same level. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone's just on drugs, drunk.
I don't know. I think that's a generalization. I don't think everyone is on drugs and everyone is drinking. There are many people that do go to these things sober and enjoy it to the extent of everyone else. Like when I went to pitch, I was like, I just had some drinks. I wasn't getting drunk.
Loser.
I wasn't indulging in any substances when I went to pitch either, and I had the best time. Like it was the best festival that I've ever been to so far.
You're so innocent, but I actually haven't been to a festival. So what shit am I to
No,
give you?
It's not about,
tell me this. All right, I got a legitimate question.
Mm.
What happens if, let's say, like I've had too much, and I'm really scared of going to like a tent because I'm like, I have to admit to them I've done illicit drugs, and I don't want them to know that I've done illicit drugs because I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm feeling like shit. Like what's the kind of vibe in those tents and stuff?
They will look after you. Like they will actually look after you and make sure that you're safe and that you have hopefully people around you, and that they will give you the best care possible. That is their duty of care at these festivals. They're not out to book you in with the cops and ban you and banish you from the festival because you've indulged in illicit substances. That's not what they're there to do. They're there to look out for you. And I think that's comforting to know that if you are worried about how officials might take to people that are getting involved with drugs or whatever it is, know that they're not out to get you. They're there to actually make sure that you're safe and you're healthy.
All right, talk to me about pill testing. If I rock up with my own drugs, but I'm not sure if they're laced with anything, can I go test them to see? Because I'm going to do it, right? But I want to make sure that they're at least safe and won't kill me.
I know that I actually don't know much about pill testing, so it's not something that I'm going to comment on, but I do know that you can have have breath tests at the festival grounds. You can make sure that there's like nothing coming up in your system, whether it's drug or alcohol related. You can get that sorted, the morning of, the night before you leave the festival. And I think that's really good to know that, if you are the deso driver and you're driving all of your gacked friends home from a festival, but maybe you've also had some drinks or maybe taken some substances at times during the festival, like you can get yourself tested at these voluntary testing units on the festival grounds to make sure that you are safe to go on the road.
What happens? Yeah, say I'm Deso and you just said I can get like tested before I leave. What happens if I've had drugs on the Sunday night. I've also had a fuck ton of alcohol. So it's all in my system and I'm driving home the next day, but I feel fine and the cops stop me. What happens? They test me and I'm positive for drugs, alcohol. What's the process from there? Am I going to be booked? Am I going to lose my license? Because I can imagine it to be a common thing at these festivals.
Don't know, mate. I've never been in that situation, and it's not one that I would want to be in.
I'm just asking,
mate. Like, look, I think it's fair to say that if you've been pulled over by the cops and they have found drugs and alcohol in your system, you'll probably suffer the consequences.
Okay, well, it's interesting. The reason I asked this is because I had a friend who went a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him the exact same question, and he said in the case that he got tested, he was deso, but he was fine. Like he didn't put himself in a position where he'd get caught with anything. He was pretty conservative with it all. But he said, like, in the case that people did get drugs in their system, but they weren't drunk and they weren't impaired, they were literally told to stay a night at the campsite. They wouldn't lose their license.
Fair.
And his reasoning would be, and again, I don't know if this is true. I've never been to these sort of things. So I'm talking to you as if like you're prepping me for a day out at these festivals. But he said like otherwise there would be every second person would be in trouble losing their license. So it's way less about, it's a gotcha moment and we're going to put you in cuffs, and more like we want to make sure you're safe and you don't die.
Yeah, well, that's good to know.
All right, pack me a survival kit. I'm going to a festival. I leave on the Friday. I come back on a Monday. How should I prep for it? What should I bring? What's the hacks? What are the things I should avoid?
I think, honestly, preparation is everything when it comes to festivals, making sure that you are well equipped. And I think, look, if we're going through a running kit of what you need, first thing is a big fat esky that you can store your food in, your drinks in, and that's important because you don't want your food and your drinks getting warm. That's terrible. But you also don't want to be a dickhead like I was when I went to my first festival, where I took a big esky with my mate Riley, and we stopped off at the servo on the way to the festival. We got ice ourselves, like there's ice at the festival, but like I actually didn't know that going into the first festival that I went to. And so we got ice, we fill up the esky with ice, and then at the servo, we bought some like chicken schnitzel sandwiches, right? And we thought, yeah, we're like, it's bloody hot. It's 35 degrees, whatever. We need to keep these sandwiches nice and fresh, right? What do? Us idiots, we put the sandwiches in the esky, which had ice, and we go off on the road and we're driving to the festival. And then, 7:00 comes around at the festival and we think, oh, great. Like we've got dinner sorted. We've got our chicken schnitty sandwiches. Go into the esky. They are sopping wet, soggy as anything. And we just look at each other and we think like, we are the biggest dickheads. Like, what did we think? We're going into a camping ground that is hot weather. We've got ice in the back of the in the back of the car we took. Obviously, it's going to melt. What were we thinking?
I know you say you didn't do any drugs, but just by basing it off that story, you would have thought that would have dropped.
Yeah, well, it sounds like we were just on all sorts of things, but nah, this is us being the sober people we were and just absolutely stupid. But that was a mistake that I learned not to do. So back to your question is, have an esky sorted, but in terms of ice, make sure you just get ice there at the camping grounds.
So eskies are essential.
Eskies are essential, of course, definitely. Have a good tent, one that actually can hold itself, because again, back to when I was with Riley at Pitch, we had the sloppiest tent. It was like tethered, it was disheveled, it was dilapidated, it was just in all sorts. It was just not suitable for sleeping in. And we suffered because one of the nights at Pitch, it actually it started raining and it was windy. Our tent managed to stay up, but a lot of water got in. So that night we didn't actually sleep in the tent. We slept in my car. So I was sleeping in the driver's seat. I was like, I was upright and only put the seat back like as far as I could, but it's not that comfortable. And Riley was sitting in the passenger seat, and we, I don't know, maybe got 4 hours of interrupted sleep. But that was because we were stupid and we didn't have a solid enough tent. So get yourself a nice and sturdy tent. Doesn't cost all that much. Go to Anaconda, even Kmart, like get yourself sorted with a tent for a couple $100. There are also good services I know of at festivals that if you don't want to keep your tent and you just want to like use it for the purpose of the festival and just leave it there on the festival grounds, that's fine as well, because there's like a service, I think, that actually collects these tents and makes sure that they don't get put to waste, which is great. Have a good tent. Have a good gazebo as well, because if you're going with a bunch of mates, you're going to be sitting outside. You're going to be wanting to be under the gazebo, away from the heat, away from the sunlight. And you want to be sitting around there, having a couple drinks, having some food, talking smack, reflecting on, how wasted and how silly your night was before, and how excited you are for what's up and coming for the day's procedures. So have a good gazebo as well that you can sit under and enjoy. And if you are with a big group of mates, honestly, like a doof stick investment is good for locating your mates, because when you're in these mosh pits and there's thousands of people and everyone looks the same, everyone's wearing their Mertra hat, or their their wife pleaser singlets.
We got to find a photo of you and plug it of what you looked like when you went.
Mate, let's not do that.
I think that's big bros content. You tell us, guys, if you're listening to this episode, DM us and say, I would love to see Jeremy's outfit at Pitch.
Or not, because that's also an option. But anyways,
I think more people would like to see it.
Get a doof stick if you're in a big group, because one, like, it's great for locating each other. You can see where you guys are, because you've got no internet connection at these festival grounds. Like there's no connection whatsoever. So it's great for locating people. And it also just looks sick. I mean, they're a little bit annoying to carry at times, but if you are going with a big group of mates, you can just do shifts and take in turns with carrying it. Someone holds it for 15 minutes, another one holds it for 15 minutes. It's really manageable.
Do you wear the same shit every day?
At a festival?
Yeah.
Well, I don't, but I'm sure people do.
Yeah. Okay. You don't. So you just go topless the whole time?
No. Well, it depends how much work we've we've put in prior, leading into the festival, making sure we're in good nick. But I think a great part of the festival culture as well is getting freaky with your costumes and maybe coming up with different themes with your friends. Like someday you might want to wear the same thing to just make it a little bit fun, make it a bit interesting. I remember a couple of friends one year, like shout out Brandon Efron and some of the boys, they all dressed up as like grandfathers, and they all like went to the festival on one of the days like wearing like grandfather clothes and had like walking sticks and like had like, you know, fake glasses on and things like that. And it just adds like a bit of a vibe. So, you know, you can get the rig out if you choose, if you're confident to do so, by all means do it. But I think, yeah, getting a bit of glitz and glamour about yourself and getting freaky with costumes is also a key factor that makes it that much more fun.
I love it. And how much am I expected to fork out for these sort of trips?
Yeah, well, they're not cheap, these festivals. Like I think, you know, Beyond the Valley this year especially, you know, you might be looking at around like $400 for a ticket, maybe 500 for the actual like ticket for the festival itself. And then, you know, you got to pay for maybe a car pass. Like if you're bringing a car, which could be another $100 or whatever. Or if you want to take the bus to the festival.
What's better, taking the bus up or taking a car up?
I've never taken a bus to the festival, but have had friends that have taken buses and have driven in the past, and they raved about the bus. They said it was just really convenient to just, you know, you get picked up, you get dropped off, and you
don't have to be worried. You're not worried for the cops stopping you on the way back and being like, sorry, mate, you've done too many drugs.
Well, exactly right. That's another factor. You don't need to worry about, you know,
being
alcohol and being designated driver and all of that stuff. You just jump on the bus and jump off the bus. You also don't need to worry about getting a spot to park your car in the festival grounds as well. But, you know, from my experiences of driving, I just liked having the car with me. One, as a bit of an insurance policy that like, if shit hit the fan and I needed somewhere to sleep, I could sleep in the car if I had to. And two, just because it gives me somewhere else to store things like, you know, camping gear or like food, eskies, anything. Like it just gives me another place to just store stuff.
I rate that. Okay, so you've had a mad weekend. You've gone to the festival, and then, you know, the next day your serotonin receptors are just dying and fried. What are you doing the next day? Are you going to a sauna to sweat it all out? Are you making yourself like a nutritious meal? Are you going to exercise? Is the day after just a complete write-off?
Probably. I mean, look, you can probably get away with having a little bit of time to rest and recuperate following a festival. Like, you know, the David Goggins mindset is great 90% of the time to just be hard and to just get up and go again. But, you know, if you are coming off a 3-4 day festival,
I spoke to a mate.
The pits.
I spoke to a mate, and last week he came back from Strawberry, and like I called him and asked, "Oh, what are you doing today? Recovering?" So I'm sitting in a sauna the whole day.
Excellent.
And he was just sweating it all out. He was just at the
detoxing.
He was detoxing. He went to jiu-jitsu in the evening. He was just like, I'm going to just carry on. And then later in the week, he was just cooked. Because I don't think he actually allowed himself to recover.
Yeah.
Because you don't sleep much at these festivals. You're partying through the night.
Yeah.
You might get a bit of shut-eye at like 6 a.m. to like, I don't know, 11, and then you're back into it.
Yeah, well, it depends on when they switch off the music. 6 a.m. is a bit of a stretch. You should be, you know, you'd probably be getting some
sleep. I'm an amateur. I'm an amateur, so yeah, I don't know.
But either way, it's not going to be great quality sleep.
Awesome. So, is there anything else I need to keep in mind when going to a festival? Just any things we haven't touched on?
Just have a sick fucking time. Don't think too hard about it. Just, you know, as long as you pack yourself, you pack some camping gear, some clothes, bit of food, and, you know, they've got food there as well, so you don't need to stress all that much about food. There's plenty of options. It's all relatively within good means of prices as well. And as long as, you know, you're with some friends as well, and you just voice to each other about having a good time and staying safe and having each other's backs, like just you know.
If you're going to take drugs, at least be safe with it. Know that there's medical tents if shit hits the fan, and, you know what you're taking, and again, as you said, don't be around people who are going to try and pressure you to do things you don't want to do.
Absolutely. Just have a sick time. Like, this is part of being young. Like, going to festivals are awesome. Like, it's some of my best memories with my friends, and I'm just so excited for whoever's listening. If it's your first time as well, you will have the best time, and enjoy.
Yeah, I reckon I've just bought myself a ticket for Esoteric now. So on that note, guys, it's been a lovely experience hearing Jeremy's sort of tales, because I actually didn't know that you had these kind of ups and downs with your schnitzel sandwich going rogue and then having to sleep in the car like this probably.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's all part of the journey. So, hope you guys take away something from it and flick it across to your friends if, you're gearing up for festivals in the next week or so. And we'll see you on the next one, hopefully with some festival response stories from you guys too.
Happy New Year, Big Bro family as well.
Happy New Year.
Awesome.
We'll see you in the new year.
Bye.
Bye.